Happy Star Wars Day. Actually, we're releasing this May 3, so it's the day before. But anyway, yes, happy Advanced Star Wars Day. And hello, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host Jump. And today we talk about Solo, a Star Wars story, since we're kind of running out of the mainstream Star Wars movies. And it's the only one that's really left. But yeah, were you excited when they were announcing a Solo movie, standalone movie?
When I saw the trailer, yeah, because you know us, like we love the whole boots on the ground kind of like seedy underbelly. No Jedi's, no Siths, nothing like that. Well, there is a Sith here, but it's just a cameo. But we love this whole feel that Rogue One gave us.
Yeah.
Where it's very, it is very real. It's very grounded, and I love every bit of it.
Yeah.
Just there are a couple of problems, but like, you know.
Yeah. I was excited, somewhat excited, because this came out the same time between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So along with everybody else, I was kind of like, I really don't know. I don't know if I should be excited for this.
Yeah.
But like looking back at it now or watching it for this video, I'm like, it's not as bad as most people said it was, or not as lackluster. I think it's a fun movie. Again, there are problems, but like we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what will always be impressive in my mind is that Alden Ehrenreich was the first one to audition, and he beat out 3,000 other actors, and he was the last one standing to be Han Solo. Yeah. And like all the other actors include like Miles Teller, I think Glenn Powell was part of it, the lead for Baby Driver. Who else? I like a lot of the young actors wanted to be Han Solo for obvious reasons. It's one of the most coveted roles in the history of Hollywood, and like if you get it right, you get your shooting star in Hollywood, I guess. But yeah, I do like the fact that we're introduced to young Solo and Kira, played by Emilia Clarke, and their beginnings, or at least Han Solo's beginnings, in like this really underlit planet called Corellia. I'm like, why is it so dark? And then he breaks a window with his boss, and you're like, there is a sun. Why is it so underlit? And they travel outside. You're like, why is it so bright all of a sudden? What the fuck is happening? I don't understand what's happening. But yeah, I know this is directed by Ron Howard, and I think it's his first Star Wars movie. He was replaced. No, he was sent to replace Lord and Miller, who did the Lego movies previously and do the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
You're sick.
Right. Yeah. No, because again, like he did the Spider-Verse, so like.
Yeah, and like he signs up to the Empire, and that's where he gets his name, Han Solo. And you're like, has he never discussed this with Leia? She's like, oh, where do you get your name? From the Empire. Excuse me?
Yeah, the fact that we were like, wait a minute, he used to be a soldier for the Empire? Where was this?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? And by the way, I love the entire setting, looking like, well, what do you call it? Helldivers 2?
Yeah.
Kind of setting.
Yeah. I do like the perspective of Han Solo being a stormtrooper, the boots on the ground thing. That's where he meets Tobias Beckett, along with the rest of the crew, including Jon Favreau as that weird alien with like 4 arms, and you're like, oh, okay.
That was Jon Favreau?
Yeah.
That was such a shame though, because like again, I love it when they establish that a lot of people can die here.
Yeah.
And like, this is a seedy underbelly. A lot of people don't make it. And right off the bat, within their first heist, where they had the train thing with that stupid part in the trailer where they were like, "Will Chewbacca make it?"
Yeah, that's such a weird part. You're like, if it was Woody Harrelson hanging off, there'd be more like, is he gonna die this early? Holy shit! All right.
Right. But yeah, speaking of dying, yeah, Jon Favreau's character dies, and then this other character, I forgot where she's from. She looks very familiar.
She's from Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So they both die within this first like action sequence. I'm like, oh shit! Yeah. It is intense. Not gonna lie. I love the entire scene where Han Solo jumps on the ship as it crashes down on the train, and then he's the one who takes over. as the pilot was dying, which was a shame because I really like these characters.
Yeah, and like going back a bit, I do like the fact that he's sent to death via Wookiee consumption,
Yeah.
and then you find out that Han speaks Wookiee, and you're like, how come you don't do this in the other Star Wars movies? So weird. Then again, it'd be weirder if Han starts going all the time, and we'd be like, what the fuck? Okay. But yeah, it is a cool action sequence, especially with like, I forgot their names, Enfys Nest, Captain Phasma 2.0, and you're like, I wonder what she will, or he or she will do.
Oh right. She plays two characters in this universe. I forgot about that. Yeah. Brienne
Yeah,
of Tarth.
I also thought
He's
Brienne
this
of
like very
Tarth.
rebellious droid, like who went full sentient.
No, that's not her. That's the lead of Fleabag. That's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Yeah. So we have to assume every time Lando says "I love you," she just goes, "It will pass."
He'll pass. No, that's not her.
I know, but her other half is not here. But anyway, I do like the first size goes wrong, and then they're sent to. I can't believe I'm forgetting Paul Bettany's character. Another pretty boring villain. Like we have two boring antagonists, one being Enfys Nest, the other one being Paul Bettany, and you're like, here come the problems of this movie, which are not
Yeah.
compelling villains. Even though Dryden Boss does appear in the final season of Clone Wars for a bit, when he's meeting Maul, and you're like, oh shit, I guess he's here forever because he's in the movie, and we have to explain how come he's not in Clone Wars if he doesn't show up. You know, it's a weird
Yeah.
continuity thing. But it's on the ship he also meets Kira again, and she's grown and she owes a debt to Dryden Voss, and Dryden Voss gets mad at Tobias because he's blew up all of the coaxium, which is apparently is like the spice of Dune, which I didn't know was a thing until this movie.
Same here, and it blows up as if it was like underwater.
Yeah,
It's a cool effect. You know, like
yeah. It blows up like one of Boba Fett's, the big detonator thing.
no, I don't think so.
You think it's the same thing?
It's not the blah. It's not that.
It's more-
It like bubbles up like again if an explosion happened underwater.
Yeah. And then they need to go to this mine that has unrefined coaxium, and they're like, we need a fast ship. Right away, you're like, oh, I know where we're going. We're going to see Lando. And we see Donald Glover as Lando, which is the best casting choice I've ever seen.
Yeah, Lando like captures Billy D. Williams very well here. He even has like the speech down
Yeah.
as well. I'm like, okay, sounds sexy.
Yeah.
Well, he's really feeling the whole like Lando vibe,
Yeah.
and he even has the walk for it.
Yeah, you can tell Donald Glover really wanted this role and he really did research for Lando. I'm glad he's Lando. It's just a shame we don't see him more often as Lando. I wish he had his own series, you know?
Yeah.
He also has this droid lover played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is a droids' right activist. And you're like, that is right. They're always treated like second-class citizens in this universe for some fucking reasons I don't understand.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the Separatist War, And they're like, we don't trust droids anymore.
I would say that would leave a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths when it comes to droids.
Yeah, definitely. And then you think Han's gonna win the Falcon, but it's too soon, and he loses badly. And Kira has to use her charm to persuade Lando to do it. And then they go to this mine controlled by the Pikes. The Pikes, yes. And then they sneak in and do their thing, and they steal the coaxium. And it's a fun action sequence, not gonna lie. I do love the scene when Lando comes out with dual wielding blasters. I'm like, never knew he was a dual wielder. Alright.
Never really seen him, like,
In action.
like fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like sometimes he would just come into the room just like, and then
Yeah.
he's just all suave.
He usually is the one flying the Falcon in most
Yeah,
movies. Yeah, you're right. I've never seen Lando in action too. Though I do love the sequence where he tosses the blaster to Han, and Han fires, and then Kira comes running out with grenades. I'm like, alright, I do like it when Star Wars doesn't do Jedi and Sith all the time.
Yeah, again, it's very grounded. I love the fight scenes. By the way, whoever did like the effects, well, I guess the director, but like I love the shootout scene.
Yeah,
It feels very intense, and the fact that they established that anyone can die in this movie.
Yeah,
at the beginning, I was like, shit. So like every time something whizzes by their head, I'm like,
right.
you know,
If it's not Han or Chewie, you're just like, I hope they don't die, because we have to explain
yeah,
this backstory properly. Uh, and they escape, and then that's where we get the famous Kessel Run under 12 parsecs. Even though it doesn't really feel like an event, you're like, I thought it'd be more grand than this. Okay,
yeah. I really thought it was a race.
right?
Like that's what they did. Like when they were talking about like, oh, I did a whole, you know, Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. I was like, cool. Like, what were you doing? And you find out like what it was, and like they're running away from this like really scary, uh,
Monster,
eldritch space monster.
right? You're like, when the fuck did this become Bloodborne? What the? Why?
Right.
What is?
And then like they did like this whole thing with I'm not gonna lie, they stole this from Treasure Planet.
Right? Where they use the thing to hyper or like boost them out of the whole black hole thing, and you're like, I've seen it before. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
This whole time, the coaxium has apparently an expiry date, or like it's on a time limit. Otherwise, it explodes if it's not in a proper storage unit. And I'm like, why am I finding out about the fuel of Star Wars now? Huh. Even though,
I don't understand it either. But like plot holes upon plot holes or whatever.
yeah. And then they make it back to safety, and then they're confronted by Enfysness, and they're like, please don't give it to Dryden Voss. He's a bad man. The entire syndicate is evil. And we're not only fighting the Empire, we're also fighting the Star Wars turtle. I really don't. Black Sun. There we go.
Yeah. I
That's,
thought it was Red Sun.
sorry. I'm getting my
Crimson.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn. Jesus.
But yeah, they present a very compelling argument, and you're like, I know Han Solo ends up as a good guy in the future, so
Yeah.
there's no doubt that he won't do this. But like I do like the scene before where Enfysness surrounds them, and then he's like, I have guns, I have 30 men waiting on me, and then Lando just flies away.
Lando just flies off. I'm like, well, shit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it when they do that to Han Solo. Like they make him sound like an idiot.
Right?
Like every time he does a bluff.
Yeah, do you see? They're like, yeah, I won't help you with your bluff, bye-bye. You're like, oh, poor guy. And then they trick Dryden Voss, and you're like, I knew Han Solo wouldn't turn heel, because he never does. Unlike his son, you know? And then you think Kira is going to betray Han, and then she turns on Dryden Voss, and they have this... After she kills Voss, she and Han have this whole thing of like, alright, we can be together at last. And then she's like, I'll catch up with you. And then Han goes after Tobias, who has the real coaxium, along with Chewie.
Yeah.
And then...
There was like this whole switcheroo kind of like plot that I really got lost in. I wasn't really paying attention at that moment. I was like, huh?
Right?
Why does he have the fake one? Wait, what?
Right?
What do you mean those are fake?
Yeah, it really wasn't really explained clear. So you're just like, sure, okay, I got that.
Alright. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Kira makes a call to the boss of Dryden, and it's Maul, and you're like, huh, that's an interesting setup for Solo too, if there ever is one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we already know what the outcome is for Darth Maul. I'm like, is there a point?
Right? You're though in the theater, I will admit, I'm like, who's she calling? And I see the leg with the voice. I'm like,
I heard the voice first. I'm like,
I don't know why he lights up his lightsaber though. He's just
I
like,
don't understand it either.
he's just like, look at this thing, Kira. She's like,
Yeah, I'm a Sith.
as if people need more explanation. I do like the fact they got Sam Witwer as Maul with the body of
Yeah.
Ray Park. I'm like, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And again, it's set up for nothing because you're like, I know what happens to Maul at the end of his life. And I know Solo never ever confronts Maul because he doesn't believe in the Force. Otherwise, I would really question his rationale of like, I don't believe in the Force even though I was force struck by a red dude.
Yeah, not gonna lie. Okay, so like we get to the ending. She gives him like one of the people from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, gives him like the coaxium thing. It's like,
Yeah.
here's your prize. and the movie ends, and they go off, and not gonna lie, as fun as this movie was, there's too many plot holes where I'm like, potential storylines that we don't need,
Yeah.
and a lot of like, what? When was that a thing?
Right.
You know?
And again, I wish the Castle Run was more of an event, like a big event,
Yeah.
because Han makes it sound like that's how he won the Falcon, and you're like, all right, let's see what happens, and it's just a grand escape, and you're like, well, that's underwhelming. Okay. But yeah, I think the two castings or actors I really like in this one is, of course, Donald Glover as Lando and Alden Ehrenreich as Solo, because they really stand out. I mean, Solo should stand out in his own fucking movie. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. But aside from that, you're just like, well, that was fun. What's gonna happen now? And you obviously know what's gonna happen with Solo, with Lando, with Maul, and you're just like, all right, nothing.
Yeah. And they mentioned Jabba the Hutt, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, it's the beginning of his lifelong servitude to Jabba. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Though, not gonna lie, I do want to see Solo too, where he has like a Suicide Squad run against like I don't know, another big boss. They all have to try to survive, but of course,
Yeah.
Han Solo survives. Maybe they can have Boba Fett in that. Who knows?
I would love more like heist movies when it comes to like, because they did very well in like Mandalorian, but I would like to have like a whole movie of it,
Yeah.
like in the Star Wars lore.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else to add before we go to ratings? Alright. But yeah, what would you rate Solo, a Star Wars story?
Uh, you know what? This is a very fun movie. If we didn't have like any past stories that kind of make this story not make a lot of sense
Yeah.
in some areas, I would say this would have been like a good maybe prequel or like first movie before
Yeah.
we headed into the whole Jedi Star Wars thing. And yeah, like the action was sick, everything was sick. You know, I love seeing the backstories of some characters. By the way, we didn't mention it. Solo shoots Woody Harrelson
First,
because they're
because we have to establish that Han Solo shoots first.
shot. Yeah, he shot first. Because like he did mention like, oh, there are a lot of people who will still like backstab you and all that shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, we forgot to mention. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It's a good Star Wars story. Continuity wise, it's kind of messy.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I would give it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Not the best Star Wars movie, but like it's not the worst.
We have seen worse, truly. I
We have
mean,
seen worse.
we just came from The Last Jedi before this, so you're like, at least.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention that Han Solo's blaster can go into a sniper configuration. That's why it's a one shot
I
every
didn't
time.
know that. I was like, because like when Woody Harrelson picks it up, I was like, oh, it's just a blaster, and he disassembles it and it becomes a blaster. I'm like, what?
Right? I'm like, so that's why it's a one shot every time. Like, no wonder Greedo's body is literally smoking after the fact. Like, oh fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
For my taste, I will give this a 6. It is not the greatest, also not the worst. It's just right in the middle. It's obviously better than stuff like, I don't know, The Last Jedi or Clone Wars. I call that, what's episode 2? Attack of the Clones, there we go. Because I didn't want to insult Clone Wars. But it is better than that awful 2008 Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's somewhere in
Yeah,
the
it's way
middle
better.
of like, not great, not bad. It's an average Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't really answer all the questions, and when it does answer the questions, you're like, well, that's the most underwhelming answer I've ever heard in my life. Okay. It is what it is, or it is what is it. But yeah, that's all about it. All I can say for this
Yeah.
movie. Question for you is there any Star Wars character you would like to see have their own standalone movie or show?
I feel like all the major characters already have like a show to themselves.
Yeah.
I can't really think of one because I was gonna say Obi-Wan, but there is a show and it's alright, you know.
I would like to see the Jedi training days of Yoda.
Oh yeah, sure, that would be great. Like 900 years ago,
Yeah,
kind of deal. Yeah.
he's just like, make this bread, I gotta. You're like, all right, Yoda, go get it.
Uh, well, I'll go for a cop out here, but like, I would like just to see more heist Star Wars movies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of wish Guillermo del Toro pushed through with his Job of the Hot movie, because that would have been a fascinating movie of like, how the fuck does this thing create an entire empire under the Empire's nose? Can you please riddle me that, or answer that riddle, George
Because
Lucas?
the guy is not subtle in any way.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen his size and his ship? You're like, yeah, not subtle. For Tatooine, under his thumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the audience watching, what Star Wars character do you want to see have their own standalone movie? Is it, or show? Is it R2? Is it Chewbacca? Is it, I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
You know what? Why not Cal Kestis? Like put him on screen.
Right?
Like maybe in the later Mandalorian or Ahsoka
Season.
episodes, yeah, or seasons. Like it'll be kind of cool just to see him.
Yeah, it's about time he has his own screen debut because he's a great character. But yeah, that has been our video for Solo, a Star Wars story. What do you guys think? Please comment below. What do you guys think of these new Disney movies coming out that are Star Wars centric? Are you excited? Are you not? Comment down below. But yeah, if you like our videos, please leave them a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments, and Spotify to hear us on the go. In the video, I'm Ends Wolf on Letterboxd and Zoda's Voices on TikTok. Where can they find you?
You can find me at JomJM_on Instagram is my account.
And until the next time, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.